Dear Mom, I had a few minutes to write down what's itching inside my mind. It's been too long since we have talked about nothing at all. Wish I could call. I know you're lost. Please don't you worry. There's no need to hurry. Just stay strong. It won't be long before we're together. Right here in heaven, I miss you, Mom. Dear Mom, please believe I've done everything I needed to. Dear Mom, I'll be there when you breathing while you're sleeping. Dear Mom, I know you are hurting, feeling the burden of me not there. You're way too strong to give up on living instead of still giving the love in your heart. I know it's hard, but never forget the things that I did and the reasons why you are my mom. So please keep on living, caring and giving. I love you, Mom. Dear Mom, please believe I've done everything I needed to. Dear Mom, I'll be there when you breathe while you're sleeping. I can't believe I'm saying these words to you, but believe what I'm saying. You made me the man that I am. Dear Mom, please believe I've done everything I needed to. Dear Mom, I'll be here when you breathe while you're sleeping. I love you, Mom.
What an excellent song, Shannon. Just an incredible song. Let me bring you up here on screen here. Shannon book, everyone. Dear Mom. Hey, let's talk a little bit about that video, Shannon, before we get into your career in the military, your singer-songwriting career. For Dear Mom, what you shared with me is that this is your first video as a solo artist, but I've done some looking in your social media pages that you shared with me. This was a song that I think you recorded 5 years ago, just by yourself with an acoustic guitar. So you had some time to think about how you were going to present this song. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
So yeah, I mean, so let's just tell you about this song and how it came to fruition itself. When I retired, I started to go to school and I was gonna do all this stuff, and I don't know, music music became my therapy. And I mean, it literally was how I got rid of all the junk in my soul. But a lady by the name of Rachel Jackson asked me if I would be willing to write, and she actually wanted to be my my manager at the time, and she asked me if I'd be willing to write a song for Gold Star Mothers, and she gave me 8 months to do this, and I've never said no to anybody because being a corpsman, you just don't say no. That's just whatever. Jill, stop yelling at me. Can you hear me now? But I don't, being a corpsman, you don't say no. Like, you just try to help wherever you can. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. Like, and the first thing that popped in my head is, what the F do you say to a mother who lost their child to combat? Like, what do you say to a mom who lost their child, period? What do you say to a woman like that? Like, like, so I struggled with it for like 2 or 3 months. And then I was driving one day and, I was trying to visit somebody, and I had just cleaned out my Jeep, and I had an old 2002, TJ. And, I pretty much took all the carpet out, took all the stuff out of the floorboards and all that stuff. And like, I emptied the consoles and all that stuff, and I pretty much just hosed it out, because that's what you do to a Jeep. You pull the plugs and you hose everything out. And so all I had in the Jeep at the time was a Sharpie sitting on the dash. And I was sitting at a stoplight, and the song idea, the first verse, hit me like a lead train. Dear Mom. And I mean, I pulled up my freaking shorts, my cargo shorts leg, and I wrote the first verse of the song on my thigh. And it's literally tattooed there today. Like, it's tattooed there. Like, because, like, this song was not an easy song to write, first of all. And second of all, when I wrote it down on my thigh, like, I don't think the words literally came from me. I think God was trying to tell me, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you convey this message. And I'm like, so I went back and I worked on it and I figured it out and I tried to put it all together. And then I performed it for the first time in front of, there's a video somewhere on the interweb of me playing this song live for the first time in Fort Bragg in front of like 10 to 15 Gold Star family members standing next to me on stage. And they're sobbing. You can see them passing napkin, and I'm hearing them behind me. The monitors are not drowning them out for me. Like, I'm hearing people sob, and I'm trying not to sob myself, because I realize what this song is about now. This is about the letter in my pocket to my mom in the event that I didn't come home. And that's exactly what this song was. And over the years, it's just become so much bigger than that. But the video, or not the storyboard, but the idea for the video was always, some biker riding down the street on a bike all alone, riding back to home into a graveyard to drop off a letter at the gravestone so mom could find it. And they pass each other, not realizing that he's dead, and delivering that letter to the gravestone as she's delivering flowers on her day of visit. So that was the whole premise of the whole video and the whole song piece, literally.
When you think about the moment that you wrote that song, and of course with a Sharpie, there was no correcting, was there? It was basically, I know what I'm writing. There's no crossing out. There's no removing it. You knew Was this one of
Those
those
are the
fall,
words.
was this like a fall from the sky moment in terms of lyrics, lyric melody?
Lightning, like Billy Gibbons says, catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Literally.
Doesn't happen that often, but
No.
you, my friend, you,
No.
yeah. I shared the song on the community with Guitars for Vets at the Learning Center,
Thank you.
and there were a number of people who had responded, just paying you the praise, man, that goes with that song. Now, listen, thank you for introducing that song and talking through the video, and to your band, kudos to them as well too. It was really.
I'm going to tell you real
very-
quick one more time, and I want to tell
Yeah.
you about the director,
Okay,
and I want
sure.
to tell you about the people that are involved in building that video.
Please.
So the director, his name is Chris Martini. He is like most people don't know his name, but for some people know him, but a lot of people know his brother Max Martini because he's a big actor, action movie actor. But Chris and Max became big in the film industry because of their father who was in his stepfather who was in Rockford Files with
James Garner.
James Garner, the other guy. Chris, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
His sideman is
Yes, but and I know his name, and I even remembered it for this
is it
reason.
Stuart something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was a big fan.
So,
of the show.
but anyway, so long story short, Chris, I contacted Chris and I was like, hey man, like I don't know you from Adam. I see you do a lot of things for veterans. Would you be interested in doing a music video for this song I wrote called Dear Mom? And here's the idea.
Gotcha.
And he was like, sure. And I already have a crew. And he goes, and I go, so, well, that's cool. I said, I've got some people that I want to play people in this video. So the guy that you see riding the motorcycle in is a corpsman. He's a Master Chief currently, active duty, that I served with in Fallujah. And one of the guys, the Navy chief that was walking into the house in his blues to give the letter to Mom, I also was in Fallujah in 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines with. That is Reyes and Jason Dewey. Reyes, Camacho, and Jason Dewey. And there were a lot of most of the crew was veterans. So it was I guess a veteran centric.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah. And even in your bio itself, I mean, you are still well connected with the veteran community and, and what you do with your music and even.
I don't know why. They just like me, I guess.
Well, we're going to ask those questions this hour. We're going to put your thinking cap on, my friend, because we've got some questions to share with you. But
I'm
first,
not changing this one. I'm not changing it.
There's that's
nothing
cool.
underneath here.
You hold on to that. Well, let me do this. Let me go ahead and give you a proper introduction. So, taking this from your bio, Shannon, a native of Hazel Green, Kentucky, grew up with a profound love for music, showcasing his vocal and instrumental talents throughout his life. After undergoing training as a Fleet Marine Force hospital corpsman at the Naval School of Health Services in San Diego and Field Medical Service School at Camp Pendleton, California, Shannon served in 2 combat deployments in Iraq. First in 2003 with 2nd Battalion 1st Marines as part of the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit, and again in 2004 during Operation Vigilant Resolve as the Regimental Combat Team 1 Personal Security Detachment's corpsman. In this time, it was during periods of downtime when Shannon would play guitar and play and sing to help relieve the stresses of combat and deployment felt by both him and others in his unit. After serving in the military for 17 years, Book retired as a petty officer first class due to PTSD and TBI. He continued his passion for music by performing at various sporting and veteran events across the United States, including singing the national anthem and other patriotic songs. Shannon was a member of the band Vetted, had experienced the thrill of performing live in front of 60,000 people at the 2016 Invictus Games, has recorded a number of originals, including several he'll be performing tonight, and is currently gigging with his band Deliberately Broken. What a resume. My goodness.
I know that guy. I don't know where he's at, but I've met him once.
Well, we're going to kind of share some of your stories and certainly some of your music this evening to our veteran arts community, folks who are guitar learners who are eager to hear your story about how music has inspired you, and the path that got you there. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back to
So let's get into
the
this.
beginning. Let's get to the beginning here.
Let's kick this pig.
Absolutely. So, thank you for that song, by the way. Going back before all of this began, the youth. Who can you tell us a little bit about? I mean, I've gotten to know you a little bit, but I'm curious. The Shannon book of years and years ago in the youth. How would your family and friends describe you back then?
Wow, that's tough. My mom used to say I was really quiet, and she used to say that she would if I got really quiet, how parents are like, if your child's really quiet, you should go check on them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was never really that kid. I never got in trouble. Like, I mean, I did, but I was just a quiet kid. But then I became what my mom decided to call me as the product tester. And you know how Tonka-trucks were supposed to be indestructible?
Oh.
That's bullshit. It's a lie. Because you can destroy them. I promise you. I know because I've worked really hard at it. Sometimes it takes an M80. Sometimes it just takes a sledgehammer.
Oh.
Sometimes it takes a Dodge truck tire. But they're destructible regardless.
How many did you go through? Was it just one, or
no? My grandfather owned a department store in the middle of small town of Kentucky, and like toys were my thing until the department store shut down, and then whatever.
Yeah.
But I had all kinds of toys. Like, I'm pretty sure I threw the Millennium Falcon like a frisbee at one point.
Well, okay, I mean, you got it. You're the tester. So.
If I'd have thought about that now, if I'd have known what I knew then, whatever that backwards is, however that plays out, like I'd probably have a $20,000 Millennium Falcon here at home right now. Because I think I went through two of those.
Is it true that you do the same thing with your Les Paul? That's what. Or did you learn your lesson on that?
No. Like it gets the shit kicked out of it. It really does. There's blood on the front of that thing.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
All right. And is that something? Well, I was just wondering, is this something that kind of stuck with you through your years of growing up, adolescence, and then high school and all that?
I don't know. I've always been kind of tough on myself. And I've always kind of held myself to a pretty high standard. And I've always tested that tensile strength. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that other than that, like what I just said. But like, that being said, like, I've never really, I don't know. Like, I think I just recently I've started to kind of with guitar, because people are like, why don't you just finesse it? And I'm like, oh, that's how you get that little tring, ching, chimey stuff, And I'm like, I never really tried to get that ching, ching, chimey stuff. Like, I'm always trying to get the chugga, 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 like chopping wood kind of shit. Like,
yeah.
But, but yeah, like,
Is this something that was
little kid?
Is this something that was handed down from parents or older siblings?
Absolutely not.
This was from within. This is
like my mom and dad didn't play any musical instruments. Like they played the radio. That's all they played.
Okay.
Like my uncle Chris was a huge musician, and he was probably the rock star of the family. And I idolized my Uncle Chris. Like, I still remember, like, he's since passed, and I have a Paul Reed Smith that Paul Reed gave me in his office that has my Uncle Chris signature on the front of it, because he was always my rock star. He passed away 2 or 3 years ago. But anyway, long story short, my Uncle Chris, I can still see a picture. There's a picture in my head when I was a kid that I saw of my Uncle Chris on some Lexington or Richmond, like, booze station in middle of Kentucky, or maybe in Indiana, where my Uncle Chris was standing on stage in a silk shirt, a freaking polyester vest, some polyester pants, bell bottoms at that, with some freaking like like 4-inch freaking platform boots and a freaking Gibson SG wailing.
Wow.
And that to me was rock and roll.
Was that your introduction to music? Was this the thing that exposed you to music, and it's like it took you away?
But, honestly, I don't know. Like, I mean, I've always, like, my grandfather always had me listening to like big band stuff, like Orson Welles and just like all those big bands, like ensembles. You know what I mean? And so my grandfather had a huge, my grandfather had a huge LP and 8-track collection.
And you laugh because what did you do to it?
I listened to all. No, I didn't tear any of that up. That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
okay.
No.
Good man.
But I listened to it all. I listened to it, and then my granddad had everything from like outlaw country to Motown to jazz to pop, like I listened to people like oh Lord have mercy, Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, Dean Martin, all those guys. I listened to Tony words. Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett. Like Tony Bennett was like my granddad's thing. Like he loved Tony Bennett. And to be honest with you, so do I.
Yeah.
Like you want to talk about some of the suavest people on the planet.
That's like to be exposed to that in your
yeah.
And to shape your musical influences and the direction you wanted to go with all of that. And let's see, in your bio, it also mentioned the fact that you played more than one instrument. You play more than guitar, but what were some of those instruments that you played in your youth?
Generally, so I started out playing saxophone. That's where I started.
Which one?
I played the tenor,
okay.
or I'm sorry, the alto sax.
Oh, okay.
I played the alto, and my granddad gave me a cassette one day, and this has probably been playing, sheet music now for probably about a year. Started in the 5th grade, so it's probably around 8, something like that. I don't know what the age difference is then, but anyway, so like it was in the 5th grade, and so I started the school band, and we were leasing a con alto sax, and I got really, really acquainted with it, and I loved that instrument. It was probably the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. But it wasn't enough because I wanted to sing too.
What were some of did you break out some of the old records and play sax against the songs on the records, or?
My grandfather,
it sounded like you might have had access to that.
A cassette of Boots Randolph. Boots Randolph's greatest hits. Oh. And if you've never heard of Boots Randolph, I encourage you to go look up Yakety Sax, because you're going to hear some of the coolest things. One of my favorites is Boots Randolph doing The Entertainer.
Oh, on sax? Oh. That's a piano song too.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a big band song, but it's awesome listening to Boots Randolph play. Oh. Just like, I'm just telling you, just look up Boots Randolph and listen to some of that awesome, he was like big in the 70s, 60s and 70s. And he handed me that cassette and he goes, the very moment that you can play this cassette front and back, I'll buy you your very own saxophone. Now, what my grandfather didn't know, God bless him, God rest his soul, is that he didn't understand that Boots Randolph played a tenor saxophone and I played a half register higher. And he didn't understand that, but it didn't stop me.
It didn't stop you. No,
it didn't stop me from learning. And what it did is it helped me to train my ear. It helped me to improv. It helped me to be more independent as a musician, because, in grade school, And in middle school, like you're playing sheet music. That's what you play. You play somebody else's stuff. But if I'm working on my ear, like the Lost Boys song, what is it?
By the Doors, the one that they do, or
no, well, no.
oh no, you mean with the sax player?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
one. That one.
Yeah. Who can forget that scene? Boy.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the coolest things I ever thought was learn to play. Like I watched that movie and I was like,
You're
right
gonna
back.
do it.
I'll be right back. And I went and we rented the movie and the movie was in the house for like 2 days. And I literally got my saxophone and I started playing that song and I was like, yeah.
You better have had the moves with that, my friend.
No. I was not. I was a stick figure. I was a stick figure. Like I was like 9 or 10, man. Like,
oh wow.
There was no.
Okay, good to know. All right. Well,
There was none of that stuff.
Oh, good grief.
I didn't even know what that meant then.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this. Let me move to another question here. What do you remember about the world around you at that time, ahead of the time where you were about to enlist? What sticks out as, along with the music, but there's something happening in the world, it caught your interest. Do you recall any of that?
Well, there was a lot of things happening. But I mean, in that period of time, there was a lot of things happening. Like I remember the Great Berlin Wall falling. Like I watched that happen. I watched, and then before, if you're trying to prod me to where the enlistment part is, you're probably talking about the Gulf War and all that stuff. So I watched that happen on TV.
Yeah.
Like I watched that happen on TV, and by then I'd already started learning how to play guitar. I'd borrowed a guitar from a friend, and yeah, but yeah, there was all kinds of stuff happening there. There was that. There was the Mogadishu thing. There was all kinds of stuff that was going on around that period. Beirut, all that stuff, man.
Were these motivators to get you? Yeah, you're right. I was moving you towards that question about.
No, it's quite all right. I just wanted to make sure I was going in the right direction.
You're going in the right direction. Either way you go, there's no wrong here. Where this is,
I know that. Listen. Yeah. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to. Yeah, just ask, you do you. I'll do me. You do you. I'll do me.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just going off of the information in your bio. Well, let's see. Before we get into that part of your life, there are a lot of things you learned, obviously, in what you've shared with us with regards to music. Keeping up with learning the instrument, doing it really well, and going above and beyond. Are there any lessons that you learned from that time in your life, whether it be about music or anything that you may have learned outside of music that you still carry with you today?
Patience, man. Patience. Music is one of the most. Music has taught me so many things. Music has taught me so many things, and it has given me so many things, and it has almost taken away a lot of things too, because there's a balance of everything, right? There's literally a balance for everything. But music has given me so much. But if I had to give you one piece of information that I think that music gave me the most, would be patience. Mm-hmm. Because I can tell you that this thing right here, like, has taught me more patience than anything in my life. That guitar, any of these guitars, like the guitar itself, I learned how to play guitar straight from, like, I'm self-taught. I didn't have YouTube. We didn't have tablature.
That was in the 90s, right?
Yeah. Like I learned how to play guitar by ear, man. Some people showed me some chords and then I started learning. Mm-hmm. I wanted it so bad that I learned it the hard way. And when I did, and I mean, I would play that guitar, I would play until my fingers got bloody, and then I would be so angry because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I'd be so mad. I'd be so frustrated. I'd be like, why can I not play this stupid song?
Yeah.
And you know what the first song is that I learned how to play on the guitar?
What's
Ridiculous. This is going to blow your mind. Why would I choose this as my first song? More Than Words by Extreme.
Oh, really?
You know how hard that is to play? Nuno Bettencourt is now the new Eddie Van Halen. You realize that, right?
Oh, jeez. I remember the song. I remember some picking in it. Some double stops.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that this community of watchers here are relating to what it is that you have to say. I mean, they're at that point where, they have just, some of them have graduated from the Guitar Servettes lessons.
Sure.
There are people who are studying on their own as well. It's like we're providing them some guidance through our curriculum online.
Awesome, man.
And the way that you're describing it, I would imagine there's a lot of people who are on, they get what you're talking about because they're living that as well too. Hey, why don't we go ahead and break this up with a song? Would you like to grab that guitar and tell us about the song, this first song that you're going to do for us?
Fine. Let's do, you know what? Since we're getting ready to talk about my enlistment, let's do Silver Bullet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Silver Bullet was the first one. That's right. I can read this. Yeah. So when you shared with me your YouTube library of videos, there are several songs that go way back. Dude, I had no idea that it goes as far back as it does.
I was writing songs when I was like 20.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
mean, they weren't great, but they were songs.
They were songs. You were writing songs. And we all start somewhere. But looking at that song, I recall it being like 14 years ago. And I said, Shannon, this is definitely a song you might want to do because this kind of hit home for a lot of us.
I wrote this song. So the song that I'm about to do, and before we talk about this song, I'm going to talk about this guitar. This is
You're going to spoil it for us. Okay, go ahead. Robert Rask. Yes, we know who he is. He's a talented luthier.
Talented luthier. So this is called the Rask. This is called the Orphan Orange.
Orphan Orange. Okay.
It's the Orphan Orange, and it's one of one, and the guitar it's beautiful. It's a
Honduran rosewood, right?
Yeah,
is that what it was?
And Honduran rosewood and redwood.
And redwood.
It's
the type of wood that comes from underneath the water for centuries, kind of a thing. So Robert he was on our guitar shop program last month, and he talked about some of the woods that he works with. And when I told him that you were going to be one of our guests on Song Sung True, he reminded me that you knew each other, and he goes, "Let me send him a guitar for the show." So, Robert Rask, Rask Guitars, raskguitars.com. Thank you, my friend. We thank you
for the loan of this beautiful guitar. I'm just gonna get a nice little piece of this in here so everybody can see it. So to tell you a little bit about this song. This song, can you guys hear my voice and all that good stuff really well?
There you go. That's good.
All right. So this song is literally about. I wrote this song 20 minutes before a 26-mile force march with the Marines. Right. So we're getting ready to do this qualification called a McCree or a McChrist. And so we do this 26 miles, and we got to do it in less than 8 hours, and we got to lose less than 80% of people. And long story short, it was a horrible night, and we're sitting on the back deck, and we're all trying to get mentally prepared for this massive sick call that we're about to have afterwards. And so somebody goes, "You should write a song called The Silver Bullet," and I'm like, "That's a great idea." So, long story short, we're sitting on the back deck, and this song was born. Now, most of you might think that a silver bullet may or may not be, a werewolf bullet or something like that. It's not. It has nothing to do with that at all. As a matter of fact, the silver bullet is a mercury-filled rectal thermometer. And that is where this song came from. Because this song is called The Silver Bullet because the Navy corpsmen may or may not be notorious for giving Marines silver bullets and just smiling with laugh all over the face.
All right, Shannon.
Song's
go for
called
Silver Bullet.
I'm out here walking with Marines. 1 mile into it, we all sure seem so damn sensitive, it makes me scream. Where are we going with this ridiculous thing? Here we go now. First man's down again. Now I can't wait for this shit to end. Steam starts rolling from his head. And here comes a corpsman with his friend. Yeah, silver bullet, don't hurt me. Sliding easy, got a tempo 103. And if you need me, I'll be in the Humvee. 'Cause Doc just started my first IV. Still we're walking, and here comes Gunny. He's mad as hell, but not at me. Yeah. His veins are throbbing from the shit that he sees. Here comes a corpsman, his favorite damn thing. Yeah, corpsman up is all you hear. Yeah, yeah. Here comes Doc, rushing with all of his gear. The thoughts of the Marine, well, they're never too clear. You know what that means? One more silver bullet in the rear. Yeah, silver bullet, don't hurt me. Got a tempo 103. And if you need me, I'll be in the Humvee. Doc just started my second IV. Doc, I really am feeling much better. Why are both of your hands on my shoulders?
Shannon Book, Silver Bullet. All right, my friend. Rousing applause from the audience here. So
Could you guys hear that, Will? Or no?
we did. You
All
rocked
right,
it,
cool.
man. Yeah.
Very well, very well.
Yeah. So what was the reception from the people who were on the receiving end of that song? What did they have to say?
I mean, the true receivers probably didn't say much of nothing. They were a little bit incoherent, but you know, I mean, I play that song pretty much at any event that there's a bunch of Marines hanging out, or even grunt soldiers, because like grunt soldiers, like they, you know, whatever, they understand it. It is what it is. But it, you know, it's one of those things. It's kind of like a Rodney Carrington thing.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about you know, your time in the service. You joined the Navy in 1994, according to your bio, and your first deployment was in 2003. So what was going on between that time, between the time you joined and deployment? You were in California, I think.
Yeah. So when I say when it says deployment, my first combat deployment was in 2003.
Okay.
There are plenty of other deployment. Like that's like, hear me when I say this, and probably most people in this room, right? Like, probably already know this. Like when they talk about bring all of our troops home, like, yeah, absolutely. But the reality is that our troops are always gone. Like we're always forward deployed. We're always cutting grid squares in the Indian Ocean. We're always cutting grid squares in the South Pacific. We're always cutting grid squares in the North Atlantic. We're always cutting grid squares. We're walking through freaking the Philippines. We're doing, like, all these things happen because of World War One. Let's go back to that. If you've never heard of the Great White Fleet, the big guy up here with the Navy shirt on, I know that shirt because I wore that in boot camp, by the way. So same time, apparently we're the same age. So that being said, the Great White Fleet was, they painted all of the battleships completely white, stark white, and they floated them to pier all over the world. And was like, hey, we're just here saying hi. We just want to say hi to everybody. How are you? Exactly. Well, you got me by 1 year, Gary. So, but like, so like they were like, hey, we're just checking in. Just thought we'd say hi. Don't mind this big, huge white ship behind you. It's just here for, no. It's painted white because we're at peace. It's all cool. Like, meanwhile, this boat literally slings 16-inch freaking Volkswagens. 18 miles. Wow. So that's the whole premise behind being deployed. So there were plenty of deployments before that. But to answer your question, in my bio, my first combat deployment was in 2003.
Got it.
There was plenty of things happening in between that.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you for clarifying that. With regards to your time in San Diego, I know that's come up as a part of the stories, getting to know you a little bit. But first of all of the studying that you had to do, can you talk a little bit about that from a perspective of no one has any idea what that's about? Maybe you can just kind of talk a little bit about what you
being a corpsman, huh?
Yeah.
So it started out like I remember going to Corps school. So boot camp, I was probably the last division that graduated in San Diego, and then we graduated and they started shutting San Diego down. But I went straight from boot camp to Balboa Naval Medical Center in San Diego, and went from there to Naval Medical School of Health Sciences right there at Balboa. And like instantaneously, like it was like, hey, well, we're going to teach you guys how to be EMTs. So we started doing the National Registry for EMT, and then they were like, oh, wait, but hold on. But wait, there's more, And so like everything that you learn as an EMT it's backwards in a combat zone.
Really?
Absolutely. So here in America or anywhere that EMS is happening, if you were in dire shape, you're the first person to get to the hospital. In a combat zone, I'm not even putting you in a bag. Like my goal is to keep as many people on a gun as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that means if you're missing an arm and you can still hold a rifle or a pistol, like I'm going to get you as doped as I can to give you up to at least sling freaking small arms.
Yeah.
Like that's literally going to be my goal, because at the end of the day, we need to bring as many people home as possible. So my job was never, Stephen Vaughn, thank you. That's awesome. But you know, and for those of you who don't know, Stephen says he was on the USS Jersey, New Jersey in Beirut in 1983. That's why I said that. Sorry. Squirrel. But that being said, my job was just to keep as many people fighting as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So they taught us how to be a field or an EMT, and we could charge the national board, or we could charge the state boards and all that stuff. We were certified. Like I was a certified EMS guy, right? But it's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that, because everything is backwards.
Mm.
Right? It's all backwards. And not only that, but because from that point on, like there's records maintenance, like I'm literally a hospital in one person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do records maintenance. I do records maintenance. I do sick call. I do x-rays. I can do labs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the sad part is that I learned everything. I learned. There's my Kentucky roots. I learned everything. So I learned everything in big capacity OJT. So like when they take a doctor and they put him through gross anatomy, like you're doing it hands on. That's what gross anatomy is. Like you're literally pulling a spleen out and going, oh, so there's the, aisle of linger, aisles of linger hand, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you're looking at all these things and you're like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do all that stuff, as the first time I ever had my hand on a human heart, I was 19.
Wow. Not too many 19.
And I was walking through an operating room and they're like, hey, throw some gloves on. We need you to do some chest compressions. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, where do you want me to start? He's like, grab the heart. And I'm like,
good grief.
That was what I was doing, man. This was me at 19.
Wow. Man, oh man, Shannon. Hey, let's move on. I want to share something else from your bio here, because I've got more questions. You see, I told you I was going to ask you questions here. So 2003 is in your bio. This is in a bio that's still posted on your website. I know we talked about this, but I need to read this. I need to acknowledge this because it says 2003. You were a corpsman with the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines, as part of the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit.
Right.
And in 2004, during Vigilant Resolve, as the Regimental Combat Team 1, Personal Security Detachment's corpsman. Now, I'm going to tell you what I needed to break that down for my own knowledge, and what I read was mind blowing to me. And I just have to say thank you for all that you have done for us, for our freedoms. I had to break that down to really understand what that meant. And I will give you the opportunity to tell everyone what you told me. It's Tom. Get over it.
I just made ice cream, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But when I finally broke that down and understood what that meant and what that put you through, the one word that came to mind was intensity, and I couldn't go beyond that other than asking you to maybe explain a little bit of that to me. But there was I don't know if you want to, but before I do point to you, I want to share something you shared with me with everyone. I'm going to bring this up on screen. I hope this will come up okay.
Are you going to do the baby?
Yeah, I want to bring this up here because this is the picture that you shared with me when I asked you about what I had just read, and it's like my mind is completely blown. But maybe the question is, maybe you can share with us a highlight of that time when you were in Iraq and this is what
Man,
you
I
shared.
don't. So that's probably one of the best moments, and it was probably one of the most stressful moments. We were literally engaged not too far down the road, and we had set up a makeshift hospital in a small building, and I was a supply chief uh, for the regimental or for the battalion aid station. And as you see in the picture, you'll see my buddy David Jones. He was the chief for the battalion at the time. He's holding America,
Mm.
and she was named America after we delivered her in the middle of basically one of the biggest firefights in Al Nazaria. And
That's
so
yeah.
I may or may not have stolen enough supplies from the army to deliver that baby.
Oh, Shannon. Yeah.
I mean, people talk about allocation, reallocation, whatever. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I just call it stealing. It is what it is.
My goodness. Well, thank you for pointing that out and sharing that with us.
I don't know if that baby's still alive or they still call it America,
Yeah.
but that was probably one of my favorite moments in that shitty,
Yeah.
because nobody likes wearing a mop suit for a month or more.
Oh, jeez.
Trust me.
Hey, there's something else in your bio that I want to read to you.
I
And
didn't
maybe
do
you
it.
can talk to it. To help
my fault.
relieve the stresses of combat and deployment felt by both yourself and the others in your unit, Shannon would play guitar and sing during downtime, and most importantly, began to write his own music about how he and his brothers felt about their experiences. So, if you can maybe share with us, is there a moment where you had the opportunity to sing and play? You know, with,
Yes,
that
I love
you,
how you're doing this. This is awesome. This makes it easy for me because it keeps me on point. So I bought a really cheap. It wasn't really it was a nice guitar actually. Sometimes some of the best guitars you ever find are in a pawn shop, and it's just because of how they're stored. I don't know. I don't like. It was literally one of those things, and you couldn't pay me to tell you the name of that guitar. You couldn't. Like, and I paid it. I paid $50 for it, and I bought a gator case for it. Like, I bought a gator case to take it with me, and so all that being said, like, I bought this $50 guitar, and I put $100 in a case, so I had $150 invested in this whole guitar. And I took that guitar home and I sanded it down and I painted my own decals and all this cool shit on it. I wrote my name, some swirlies and some some tribal looking cool weird shit, and
Mhm.
took it to
Is that
Iraq.
yours?
Took it to Iraq, took it to Fallujah with me. I put it in an Isacon and we sent it straight over to the freaking desert and put it on the top of my Humvee. Strapped it on the top of the 997, which is the ambulance, and we drove it straight into Fallujah. And when we got to Fallujah, I was supposedly the LPO of the regimental aid station, but then Petty Officer Power Warren came in, and Reginald took over as the leading petty officer for the regimental aid station, and I was not about to sit on the fob and take rockets without being able to go back and give them a punch back in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asked to be part of the regimental combat personnel security detachment. And so I took my guitar over to what we called the Bat Cave. And that's where I would play music for all the guys. If nobody died that day, then I would always start the session with Alice in Chains' Rooster, because they come to stop the rooster, but he's never gonna die. So
Wow.
that was the song I always played first. But then there was this opportunity. We're getting ready to go on a road march, and there's a USO show that's happening in the daggone auditorium, and they're doing this like little live open mic kind of thing, and the guys are like, "Doc, go get your guitar, go get your guitar." I'm like, "No, bro, Like we're getting ready to go out on the road. Like I don't, no, like I'm good. Well, they went and scarfed it anyway. They went to the Bat Cave, grabbed the freaking guitar, and brought it back. And everybody's like, dog book, dog book, dog book, dog book. The whole auditorium.
They
And I'm
wanted you.
like, fine, fine. So I get up and I get on stage and I play like 4 or 5 songs. And I don't remember what song I finished with. I want to say it was like Sober or something from Tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I got done playing. And as I get up to walk off the stage, Toby Keith and Ted Nugent walk on the stage, and Ted Nugent looks at me and goes, "Bro, killer set, man." And I'm like, I just opened for the Nuge and Toby Keith in Fallujah.
You had
Kiss
no
my
idea?
ass.
Did they not tell you that that was happening?
Kiss my ass. Here, you're welcome. You know, like that was literally so I put that up. Like that's on my resume, whether you like it or not.
Oh wow! Did you have words with Toby Keith?
No, because that dude, he looked like somebody had beat the shit out of him with a wet noodle.
Oh gosh,
He was exhausted.
All the traveling, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Good grief.
Nuge looked like he just did a line of speed, and I'm pretty sure he was sober as a judge. Like that dude,
Wow.
that dude is always like, ha!
Jeez. Hey,
I don't think that dude does anything with coffee anymore, but I'm pretty sure he drinks some stout coffee.
These are just 2 of the many names of individuals, celebrities, if you will, that you have come into in your musical journey.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if those are the 2 that are the ones that stand out the most.
I've got, man, there are so many. I just had somebody sent me a message today. I was never fortunate enough to meet anybody in Alice in Chains, but like, you know, and I, you know, they're still around. But Lane Staley's gone, and Lane Staley was always a huge vocal hero of mine. Huge vocal hero. Lane Staley, like, kiss my ass. Like listen, man, and I get some of the older guys, like, you know, the Doors, like Jim Morrison was a badass and a hell of a songwriter. I mean, opium helps a lot. You know, opium and heroin help a lot when it comes to songwriting.
That's what I've heard.
But I mean, not that I know. I mean, but what I do know is like Lane Staley and Chris Cornell, like those people were icons to me, like vocally, like. Mm-hmm. You know, there was always like Eddie Van Halen guitar wise, or Eric Clapton. Like I listened. I was telling you the other day, I listened to Eric Clapton's MTV Unplugged album when I was a teenager forever. It's still on my phone.
Desert Island CD. Huh?
Alberta, Alberta, where you been so long? Like that's like it. To me, that's some good shit, you know. But I will sing one of those like songs all day.
I've seen some of those on your YouTube page, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Hey, listen, we got to get you singing here. I mean, we are at Hollow Man at this point. So, what's the story behind that one? And grab that guitar.
I'll tell you. So, playing music has been and continues to be. I guess my therapy, but it has also almost become my demise at times.
How so?
Because when it becomes business, the fun is gone.
Is it work? Does it become
It is work? It is work. It does become work.
And how long have you been doing this? You've been doing this for a long 20, 25 years?
I started professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I started in 2010 when I retired.
Okay. All right.
Before that, but I've been playing music. I was playing music in San Diego on active duty, playing with, you know, people like Jewel and her brother and the guy from Sublime before like they were famous. Like I was telling him the other day, I could literally flick Mark McGrath in the thigh from the stage on the grind, an MTV grind, and then freaking in Mission Beach, California, in San Diego. Like playing in all these little coffee shops in San Diego, that's where I cut my teeth musically. So it was really good therapy. But what I can tell you is that it also, when it becomes business, it can be overwhelming. And what I've learned is that I have to balance me. Not the business, not the music, I have to balance me. I have to keep me balanced.
Because no one else will, right?
Right. Nobody else cares.
Yeah.
Like
it's that type of a business.
They can't change it. They can't fix it. Like I have to do that myself.
There's a lesson in there for
absolutely.
our viewers who are learning, about music and potentially moving into something like performing or songwriting. That there is the business aspect of that, and as Shannon is talking about, he's got to watch out for himself, which is great advice. So
and it doesn't get any easier either. The bigger you get, the harder it becomes.
All right, sir. Hollow Man.
This is called Hollow Man. As I walk the earth with this hollow smile on my face, wrapped with the anger in my soul, wanna smile sincerely, but the pain deep in my heart is real, and I feel like I'm gonna lose it all. When will I stop this Mad Hatter lifestyle I've grown accustomed to? Yeah, my emotions inside beat away in my life, and the barren shores in my soul. Where can I get the seeds of restoration in me? Or have I become the source? Now I wanna fix my life, not be stuck in time, or be buried in my past. Oh, can't you please help me not to be this hollow man that I see? Work so hard to save you, but I forget about myself, and I crash upon these stones of guilt. Wanna save the ones I love from the very destruction of vicious cycles of letting you down. When will I stop this Mad Hatter lifestyle I've grown accustomed to? Yeah, my emotions inside eat away at my life, and the barren shores in my soul. Where can I get the seeds of restoration in me? Or have I become the source? And I wanna fix my life, not be stuck in time, or be buried in my past. Oh, can't you please help me not to be this hollow man that I see? And I wanna live my life not so empty, and focus on myself. Now I wanna be the man that you see, and not be someone else. My emotions inside eat away in my life, and the barren shores in my soul. Where can I get the seeds of restoration in me? Or have I become the source? Now I wanna fix my life, not be stuck in time, or be buried in my past. Oh, can't you please help me not to be this hollow man that I see. I see. I see. And I see. And I see. Yeah, yeah.
Shannon Book, Hollow Man. That was one of your most recent creations.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. What's this? I know there's a story behind it because you shared it with me.
Yeah. So there's a lot. Oh. So being on the road people don't realize how much being on the road takes a toll on you. Like being a musician, most people don't realize how much work it involves. Like, it involves a lot of work. And when I say a lot of work, I mean, I don't just mean like advertising. I don't mean just playing music. I don't mean just writing and recording. It's all of that and maintaining your own sanity. It's everything. Like, if you had to do a job and you had to do your job all by yourself and you had no support, that's what being a musician is like. Like, it's that simple. So if you have a very important job and you had to do it all by yourself, to include the administration, the payroll, all of those things, the travel, the logistics, the marketing, the distribution, all those things, as an independent artist, I own all that stuff, but it's that much more work. So it can take a toll on me. And that's why I said earlier, like, I have to balance who I am and what I'm doing, because if I don't, I lose myself in all that and I won't recuperate. Because I've almost lost myself. And that's what that song is. Like, I just became empty. I became empty because I was doing the business and not the art.
Think of the first time that you had these visions of becoming a rock star. The very first time. And then fast forward to today, and how different is it? How different is it from what you imagined it to be to what it is, to how you just explained it?
Entirely. It's entirely different.
Completely. It's a 180.
Absolutely.
Mine was
because I thought that, being a rock star made life easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, mine was, I just want to play my guitar in the garage and just,
right.
And just, make it happen.
Right. Yeah.
And the way you describe it as business is exactly how it ended up for me too. So.
That's funny that you say that, because let me say this, because like everybody, and when I am interviewing or auditioning a part for anything in the band or anything in the production of any of it,
mm-hmm.
like, I literally make this statement: this is not a garage band. We're not a garage band. Because we don't play in a garage. We're not a bar band. Like, we're a touring band. Mm-hmm. You either are on board for that.
Yeah.
Or, hey, thank you for coming out. God bless you. I love you. I can't do anything for you.
Yeah. Now you've been in a band, Vetted. You mentioned that in your bio, and you have
been in a lot of bands, but that one was the one that almost popped. Yeah.
So, that, and then now you've got your current band, right?
Deliberately Broken.
So you've got a couple of bands experience in either.
Oh, yeah. We used to have a band called Slack Noise, spelled with a Z.
Slack Noise. Were they identically? Were the experiences in running a band and the operations of a band, were they similar or were they completely different?
I think it all involves how your perception is in the process, because I can tell you that there are parts of running a band that have not changed, and then there are parts that have to change. So from being a garage band to being a full-time musician and touring artist, like I can no longer look at. So like, for instance, I've been sober for 3.5 years. I, cause me and cocaine break people and things. Just so you know, me, alcohol turns into cocaine. Cocaine turns into me breaking shit. Period. Um, it's bad to give like a combat veteran cocaine. It's never good. Um, it's probably never good to give anybody cocaine for that matter. But um, now that I've been sober for 3 years and I've literally been working on me as a human being, and literally putting my past to rest. Thanks, David. Putting my past to rest. There's a lot of growth that has happened there, and the mindset that's behind the business today is that I run the business the way I run the business, and I can be a full scaled freaking tornado, or I can just enjoy my place where I'm at in life. And at the end of the day, I kind of like where I'm at. I don't really necessarily, I'm not beholden to a record company. I'm not beholden to anybody who, I mean, I don't make a shit ton of money, and that's okay. And I don't necessarily really care. I don't necessarily do any of this for the money anyway. Like, I do what I do because I hope my music helps people.
Nice.
Like, I like my music, and I like my art to pay for itself. So that's what the business model is. Like, hey, like, I don't need to pay for out of pocket to make this happen. I need to create income and revenue from this business to keep me on the road. Otherwise, I'm going to waste my retirement, which is basically my play money.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like playing.
Yeah.
Like, I like being retired. It's awesome. Like, if I want to go to a freaking pond down the street today or tomorrow morning and throw a couple of freaking lures and never catch a fish, I can do that. And I'll be happy as a pig in shit, and it'll be cool. But, you know, at the end of the day, I had to earn that spot, right? Like, I had to get retired. I had to, you know, 17 years and a couple of explosions and some really bad shit kind of got me retired. Got me a nice little pension. It took care of me. But I earned that, right? But just like everybody, like the working musician, like when you're a working musician, like you earn what you get, and you get what you earn.
I want to talk about another aspect of the whole idea of music and business and all that, and it is guitars, such as the collection of guitars you shared with me.
Oh yeah, like, I don't know what you're talking about.
In the background, there's no hiding. That's not a background. That's not a fake background. It's
no. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Brian Humble, who literally just
hey Brian,
way to go on your Brian. So he was my doctor in 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines during OF.
Oh, awesome! Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Thanks for being here.
So let's talk about guitars, because you know our community is guitar centric. They're learners, and some of them are on the hunt for a second guitar, perhaps a third guitar. And when you shared
don't do it. It's
when
addictive.
You shared, what is that? Gibson ES? No, I mean it's kind of like that's the kind of conversation.
I don't know what this is. This is the oldest guitar I own. Like.
The oldest guitar that did you get that from someone? Or did you find that at like the pawn shop?
I love how you do this shit. It's so awesome. Like he's like, hey, so we're gonna go down this aisle and just keep walking. All right, cool.
I'm reading you like a book, dude.
Yeah. No pun intended. IRA pun.
Yeah, so show us.
So if you look at this, awesome. If you look, can you guys see the wood grain in that?
Ooh, yeah.
Isn't that pretty?
Gosh,
Isn't that pretty? So I'm just going to tell you what this is. This is a 1965. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Gibson ES 120T. And it's a hollow body.
Completely hollow, huh? Nice.
It's a jazz guitar. But
Yeah.
my great grandfather, Mize, played it in a bluegrass band in Renfro Valley, Kentucky.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's
Yeah.
so this was my great grandfather's on my. It's weird. I have I have three sides to my family. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you. So my dad is my dad, and then there's my sperm donor, who is the son of this fine man. But his like his daughter, my aunt Lisa, had kept this forever, and she loved me to death, and she still loves me to death.
Hmm.
And she one day messaged me, and she goes, "I have something for you," and I'm like, "What?"
Hmm.
You've been
That's
to
a nice
Renfro Valley.
message.
That's awesome. But yeah, so she brings this down to Jacksonville, North Carolina,
Hmm.
and she hands this to me in the original Gibson case.
Oh
Now,
gosh. Yeah.
keep in mind, this guitar back then was probably a $50. Like this
Uh-huh.
was, I want to say that this was a Sears and Roebuck guitar. Like Gibson was a Sears and
They
Roebuck
used to
guitar.
sell them right out of the
Yeah.
catalog. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want to say that this was probably 100, maybe 50, $150
Hmm.
total.
Yeah. Those were
You know
the
what this guitar
days.
is worth today in its
How many
condition, current
zeros?
condition?
Is there at least
Oh,
four
it
zeros
just
behind it?
it just added two zeros, but it's $2,500. It's worth $2,500
Oh, okay.
in its current condition,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
and
Yeah.
it sounds amazing plugged up. So
You gig with that thing? I mean,
I do.
you played jazz with the saxophone, but did that carry over to guitar as well? Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I play blues on it. I don't ever necessarily play jazz on it. I
Oh,
mean, there's
okay.
jazz. I can play some sevenths and some ninths, but I don't like.
Okay.
Meh.
Very
But I
good. Very
definitely
good.
do play it. Yeah, I jam on it a lot.
Very cool. What else you got back there that
Oh Lord!
you want to
Oh,
share?
hold
He's
on.
gonna
Oh
he's gonna
wait!
do the same
Oh
thing you did
wait!
to
There's
me
more.
more. And don't ask him about what's behind the closet door because
There's more.
there's a. All right, and that
This
looks like another Gibson.
yeah.
Hmm, that's
So this is a
semi-hollow.
this is a semi.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a yes. This is a Gibson. This is a Gibson custom
Hmm.
semi hollow ES 339.
Is that a more recent one?
Yes, this was. I don't know how I do this, but this one was given to me too.
How do you do that? How that's
I
two
don't know,
Gibsons
and
that
it's out
they're.
of tune too.
Hey, move that microphone closer to you so we can hear you.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, how do you score guitars being given to you and
I couldn't tell
Gibsons
you.
at that?
I couldn't tell you.
All right,
This is a $5,000 guitar. So
beautiful too.
actually I
Yeah.
will tell you. I will tell you. A very good friend of mine, Nick
Uh-huh.
Mitchell, Green Beret. Um, he was the bass player in Dear Mom video. He's not
Cool.
really playing. He's not really playing the bass. He's acting, which is he doesn't play. I mean, he plays a little, but he doesn't play a lot. So, but
Oh, well, you had me fooled.
he, yeah.
Yeah.
I trust me. It was coaching. um, but I will say this, and he did a great acting job. And I love Nick to death. So, but we were at his house after the video finale, and we were having a rap party at his house. And he brings this thing out, and he goes, "Hey, I want you to check this guitar out." And I'm like, "Sure." So I grab it, and I'm like, "Ooh, ooh." Um, so we plug it in, and it's plugged into that Bagheera down there,
Mhm.
that little vintage 22.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh man, this thing sounds amazing." And I end up playing this guitar for like 4 hours that night. They wouldn't let me
Wow.
stop playing it.
Yeah.
So by the time I got done, Nick was like, "Bro," he goes, "I just want to tell you something." You know how long it's been since I've touched that guitar? I'm like, "I have no idea." He goes, "Well, He goes, I'm gonna tell you this story, and this is exactly what he said. I'm gonna tell you the story. I was in Greece, and my dad, his dad was a Navy SEAL, and he's like, my dad was seeing these people. Where he was in Italy, and he goes, this little Greek woman walks out, and she goes, I got a story for you, and she hands him this toy that he was looking at, and she goes, this is a gift. I'm giving this to you. You cannot turn it away.
Ooh.
And he tells me that story, and then he goes, by the way, that guitar belongs to you. And I'm like, what? No, hell no. And sure as shit, like, he gave me this guitar. I ended up buying the amp because I felt like fucking horrible. So I paid paid $400 for a $300 amp, which is fine.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah.
And that's not your first, that's your second. Now, do you own any more Gibsons that have been given to you that you are thinking about it? Obviously, the answer is yes.
I have. So Paul Reed Smith did give me.
Yes, you did mention that.
An SE, and probably one of the first SEs.
One of the beautiful too. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's solid sounding guitar. But we were in Paul Reed's office and we were playing some music, and he's like, dude, like we were talking about music, and he gave us a tour. We saw the actual shop, and how he literally picks every guitar. Like, he picks the woods like for every guitar, which is crazy.
Gosh. And you saw him at the NAMM show too.
Yes.
Recently too.
Yeah.
Had a conversation with him about that.
There was some fun conversation with Paul. I love Paul. He's an awesome dude and stupid smart. So he's like, no. Hey, Jill, can you grab me the 2 guitars outside? And there was a bunch of, they were just starting to bring out the Angelus. It was actually just starting to happen. And so she grabs 2 SE Angeluses and brings them in, and then we start playing some music. And then we start to leave, and we like, where do you want me to put these guitars? You go, like, just take them with you. Okay.
Here you go.
All right. Sounds great.
We have no place to put these, so you better take it. Well,
so
man.
I have a number 2 custom SE.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
See, yeah. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of the program here, and I know we've only scratched the surface, about you, Shannon. We've got one more song to do, and then we'll go ahead and close it up. Why don't you tell us about Walking? That's what I've got listed down here to kind of close out the show this evening. What can you tell us about that song?
Wow. So you wouldn't know to listen to me that I'm a Christian. Or maybe you would if you get past the banter and the harsh undertones of me being a sailor / Marine. I'm more Marine than I ever was a sailor. But, I just called myself a jarred squid. Anyway, I'm a Christian, and it's been a rough road to really understand what it takes to be a Christian. Like, I thought that, hey, just tell God that you believe in him and everything will be okay. And that was never really the case. So when, I don't know where this song came from, to be honest with you. It just kind of happened. I was in a really bad place. And I'm sure a lot of people have, if you've ever read the poem Footprints, this is my footprints, and this is basically my journey to find spirituality, find God, get to know Jesus, and how rough that road was. And it was only rough because of my choosing. Like, I made the decisions that took me to where I went. And so, so that's what this song's about. This is called Walking, and it's basically my footprints. Another day is gone and the sun sets on my back.
Looking forward to the day I can relax. Take a deep breath and my whole world is consumed. I'm looking forward to a day with a life I've filled with doom. And some would say that I control my own destiny. Finding that hard to believe, living my life dressed as me. Serenity is a dish best served with heat, wrapped tightly with the love of those I need. Carry me to the places that I know, and take me back to the place where I call home. Another night falls and the moon is overhead. I cannot see my steps through the valley where I tread. As I move forward, and Lord, I'm trying to fill your shoes, but I fall short again. Lord, I know not what to do. Some would say that I've never walked alone, lone pair of footprints in the sand, but I know they're not my own. Humility is a dream that's lost with ease. The weight of the world on my shoulders have brought me to my knees. I realize those times I've walked alone, Lord, you were carrying me in the direction I was shown. Yeah, yeah. Serenity is a dish best served with heat, wrapped tightly with the love of those I need. Carry me to the places that I know, take me back to the place where I call home.
Shannon book and walking.
Thank you.
Talking about coming full circle, Shannon, you know, from opening the show this evening with Silver Bullet and sharing some of your songs. Thank you for sharing your stories as well.
Thanks for having
ride.
me, man.
What a ride this last hour and a half has been. Hey, tell us a little bit about any musical projects that you can share with us.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of it. I just like playing. I like doing all kinds of stuff musically. Me personally, I just like collaborating. So, I've got a couple of things in projects. So Deliberately Broken is about to start hitting the road again. We're gonna probably start writing. I got another. It's funny that you asked, "Are you coming through Ohio anytime soon, Kathy?" Because I was literally in Columbia, and I will be in.
You're going to be in
Columbus?
Rolla. You're going to be in Rolla soon.
Oh, I am going to be in Rolla. I'm going to
Maybe
be
in
in
Rolla,
Rolla,
which is going to be south of Ohio, but
yeah.
closer.
I do actually have a place. I'm supposed to be up there in July. So
Cool.
I will.
With your
you'll have
band? or is this a side project?
It'll be independent. It'll be solo.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, I'll be up there playing with a little group called War Dogs. It's a baseball team that puts veterans that love baseball in a league for them to possibly be picked up for big teams. So they get to play. Right. They get to play farm schools or farm teams. So so they get to possibly get picked up. So, but yes. Anyway, that being said, I'll be doing that. Absolutely.
You're headlining Hero Stock, by the way.
I am headlining Hero Stock in Rolla. I will be playing all of the Hero Stock events. Rolla, Missouri is my headline show. Which is awesome.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I'm writing music with people all over the place. I've got tons of stuff going on. I'm in the process of writing a song right now called wow, what's it called? Words and stuff. Hold on, I'll tell you. Dang it. Oh, I've forgotten now.
Hey, I got an inside track about someone you're writing with a song.
Oh, no, I didn't do it. It's not my fault.
You didn't? Well, he happens to be our next guest on Song Sung True, which is in a couple of weeks. Right?
Jesse
Absolutely. Freeward? Yeah, Jesse Freeward.
As a matter of fact, I'm writing 2 songs with Jesse Freeward right now as we speak. Like it's So
very cool. Well,
I love writing music, man.
Let him know to update us when we have him. He's going to be here on Song Sung True on May 7th. That's going to be a Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific.
Right on.
All right. Well, very good, man. One last question that I have for you and to our guitar playing audience. Maybe you can give some advice to them as a veteran, as a singer-songwriter, guitar player. You've worked your way through the ranks, and these people are in their own way. Is there a piece of advice that you can share with them as they embark on their continuing journey?
Wow, that's not a loaded question. That's not a loaded question. I honestly tell you, like, if I were to give you any advice at all, my advice would probably be to play the guitar for you and not for somebody else. If you want to learn to perform and play and sing, the best thing you can do is do it for you. Or do it to glorify God. Because at the end of the day, those are the only 2 people that should really matter in your world. Everybody else is secondary. Because you should always be first. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean that God told us to love thy neighbor as I love myself. And that means I am supposed to love myself the way that God loves me. I had to learn how to do that. And in order to do that, I've learned how to love each and every one of you after learning how to love myself. So if I ever told you to learn to do something for yourself, it would be to play guitar for yourself and sing and write for yourself. Don't try to fit anybody's mold, because it really doesn't matter. Those molds don't matter. Those molds are broken every day. Amadeus Mozart broke molds every day.
Very good. All right. Shannon, thank you again for spending part of your evening with us and giving some insights as to your life, both as a musician, in the service. And thank you again for your service. We are so appreciative that you spent some time with us this evening. And something tells me that we're going to do this again. So get ready for another round of questions.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All right, everyone. For Guitars for Vets and CAVARTS, the Challenge America Veteran Arts Community, I'm Tom Lamog. For Paul Lilly and the rest of the gang here at Guitars for Vets, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Good night.
Love you guys. Bye.